The beautiful splash petal Cattleya that we have in our orchid in review for today is the Cattleya Purple Cascade, which is a Cattleya interglossa times a Tokyo Magic. And as you can see, these two orchids are rather large in size, standing at almost 2 feet tall. So you are going to have ample space to be capable of growing these types of orchids. And taking a look at these pseudobulbs, you will see that they can grow quite abundantly and also tall in height. So you may need proper accommodations to grow this orchid healthily and also to provide safety precautions so that they indeed will be balanced out. You will also find that in these types of Cattleyas right here, that they can actually be unifoliate, meaning growing one leaf to each pseudobulb, or actually be bifoliate, meaning growing 2 leaves per pseudobulb. So they actually do whatever they want to, and they can have both growth habits. Now, of course, the most phenomenal part about this orchid right here is its very gorgeous and very striking bloom. And the amount and the abundance of blooms that this can give really is quite magnificent. This orchid is actually known for giving 2 to about 6 or even more blooms per spike, and can actually bloom on a mature and well-established plant off of each and every pseudobulb. This orchid is a medium-sized bloomer in regards to the size of the actual blossoms, measuring about 3.5 to 4 inches in diameter. And although these blooms are not as large as some other Cattleyas, you indeed cannot take away from the fact that the potential of having all of these magnificent and very striking blooms are quite explosive and indeed is so unforgettable. So do not count this orchid out. This is quite a delight and a treat for the eyes with all of these blooms. Indeed, this orchid does have the potential of having so much flower power. And just to give you a size comparison of how awesome this bloom cluster can be, look at that. Great in size and great in beauty. And another great feature about this Cattleya is the fact that it does like to bloom in the colder months, usually your autumn to winter season. So when many of your orchids have already begun to fizzle out or have already fizzled out, this one will be coming into bloom or will be blooming within that time period where everything now becomes dreary and very cold. You can expect some very warm and bold and beautiful colors coming from this Cattleya, and it will indeed keep the blooming party going even in the colder months. Now, I also want to give you a comparison to the blooming habits of different varieties of this hybrid. So let's go ahead and take a close look at exactly how they bloom. So if we take a look at this Cattleya right here, as I have stated, this has the potential of blooming so many blooms on one particular spike, as this has done right here. So with the potential of having 3.5 to 4 inches of blooms, and this one in particular actually has 6 blooms, it does create quite a beautiful and huge cluster of these phenomenal and striking blooms. Now, if we take a look at the pseudobulbs throughout here, we are not seeing any more spikes, but we do have one particular sheath right here, which I can feel bud production as well. So I am hoping that this will also create a phenomenal cluster and abundance of blooms as this one has done right here. And here we are now at the other Cattleya, and this one in particular, I am noticing that it is only blooming about 2 to 3 blooms per spike. But that's okay, because as we take a look, you're seeing this one spike right here, another spike right here, also one right here. And if we take a look over here, here's also one that's being created in this dried up sheath. And altogether, I have counted 5 spikes that will soon come. So even though you were only having 2 to 3 blooms per spike, we are getting 5 spikes on this one in particular. So we will have the same amount of blooms or even more, but spread out through the entire plant. So this one has a different blooming habit, but indeed all beautiful and gorgeous just the same. Now, here is a very important thing to note about this Cattleya in regards to its blooming habit. You definitely want to have this understanding because you don't want to have a blooming or bud production mishap. Now, this Cattleya actually likes to produce its buds within a dried sheath. So when it is ready to spike out, the actual sheath will look as though it has fizzled out and indeed is a dead sheath. But don't let that fool you, because they are very secretive and indeed can be manipulative. Because if we take a look right here, you can actually see that these buds are coming out of this dried and appearing to be dead sheath. So before you go on a sheath pulling party, I would definitely recommend that you give it some time. In all honesty, I actually do not pull off my dead sheaths because I've had instances where a year later, a year after it has dried up and looked appearing to be absolutely and totally dead, it did produce some buds and then eventually bloomed. So again, I just don't pull off my dead sheaths. Now let us take a look at how magnificent and glorious these blooms truly are. Now, as you're seeing with the colors on this Cattleya bloom, you are noticing that the backdrop is a very nice, clean, pristine, snowy white. You're also going to notice in the petals that very deep and solid magenta berry color right there. And you're noticing a very nice flare within that petal. Also, if we take a closer look within the sepals, you are going to notice that very faint and very light pink freckling in there. So many tiny, almost microscopic spottings in those blooms, but they definitely are noticeable as well, adding a very nice pattern and dimension to the petals and also the sepals. And as we take a look at the actual lip area right there, you are going to notice an even deeper magenta berry color right there. And if we take a look on the outer skirt of this very dainty lip, you are going to notice those nice curvatures and also frilling that goes on. And the ripples can actually be found extending into the petals as well, as you are definitely seeing the form in those petals also. Definitely very, very gorgeous is this bloom. Kaleidoscope of patterns and very nice color contrast. Beautiful combination of colors right here. Now, I do want to point out that there may be some variations within each variety. As you are seeing in this particular Cattleya right here, there is no actual spottings at all within the sepals. It is completely pristine white with no types of pink markings at all. And sometimes you'll also notice a variant throughout the blossoms of the same type of Cattleya coming off of the same plant. So don't be dismayed or flustered if you do see variation within each blooms. The actual orchid does what it wants to do. As we all know, that is one of the traits that I think many of our orchids have. And with all of the features coming together, you indeed can see that this orchid is quite a treat. For sure, a treat to the eye, what I consider eye candy. This is a very standout orchid, very beautiful, very gorgeous and stunning, and you cannot deny its beauty and you cannot deny its boldness in the fact that it is demanding attention as soon as you walk into the room. And and how could you not give it the attention it deserves? It is indeed so worthy of it, such a sweet bloomer. And did I forget to mention that this indeed is highly fragrant, smelling similar to a spicy rose scent. Just gorgeous all the way around, mesmerizing and captivating for sure. Indeed, one that entices each and every one of your senses. And there you have it, folks. That is a complete orchid in review for this beautiful purple Cascade splash petal Cattleya. I thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode, and I sure do hope you liked this video. If you did, please be sure to like, share, and also subscribe. Make sure you turn on that bell notification button on to be informed of my latest video. Also, please be sure to join me right on Facebook as well at My Orchid Adventures. Again, I thank you guys so much, and as you guys already know, I truly do love and appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I will see you guys later, and I will also grow with you guys later as well. Bye bye for now. See you later. Mwah.